All right, we are live. This is Stacy Michael over here at the Pacific Commons Cinemark, and do I have a review for you? I'm here to review Anek, which is a film based in Northeast India, where we follow the character Joshua, who is sent on an undercover mission to the northeast part of India to essentially gain surveillance and intel on potential rebel groups that would impose threats towards a peace accords for the state of India. Throughout this, we see multiple different characters, such as Ido, who is a female Indian boxer, preparing for a match where she could potentially be fighting for India in the World Boxing Tournament. And her father, what's her father's name? I have it right here. Wang Nao.
Wang Mo.
Wang Nao, right?
Wang Mo.
Wang Mao?
Wang Mo, right? Wang Mo.
Yeah. And her father, Wang Mao, who is a political leader for an insurgency group in the Northeast India state. So here we see Joshua tied in personal relationships and personal matters, for him having feelings towards Ido. And we watch as he plays two sides, one for the state of India and one for the insurgency groups, as he is gaining intel and pursuing his mission. So that'll be like the first part right there. And then I'll talk about like what I thought. So my personal thoughts on this movie was very, 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 very well shot, both in terms of how the actors were playing in this movie, but as well as the cinematography and the different music choices as well. The actors were great. They played very, very dramatic roles and were often very tear-jerking moments as well. There were also a lot of very horrific scenes towards, violence towards children that were depicted in very real-world scenarios as well, that I think the audience can take away from and really learn something about, kind of what's going on in India today. As well as that, the overall editing in this movie was very well done. The plot was seamless as well. We were on the edge of our seats the entire time. And right as the second interval began, you were very invested and wanted to see kind of where this movie was continuing. So my overall thoughts, I give this a 9 out of 10. Would definitely come and watch this and would definitely recommend this to anyone. However, do always have to note that this movie does have violence towards women and children, so do watch with your own discretion.
Reviewing Anek, and definitely, our 30,000 feet is that we absolutely love the movie. It is actually an extremely intelligently written script, especially because of the choice of protagonists that have been picked up. Of course, the first protagonist being the character of Ashman Khurana, who is a forward-thinking person. He actually is, while being undercover, he gets friendly with the local people, and then he starts thinking about the local people. He starts thinking about their needs, and I think that's what complicates it for him, especially because then he asks the very pertinent question: what does the Indian government really want in that area? Does the Indian government really want peace, or does it only want a peace accord? Because the actions of the government to bring peace to that part of the country were towards just signing a piece of paper. It wasn't really towards driving the peace. So he questions all of that, and he really makes it very uncomfortable for the second protagonist, who actually very intelligently is a Kashmiri Muslim. And Manoj Pahwa plays the character of Abrar, who's a government person, and the government person absolutely, for him it's very personal, because it's exactly the same situation that is in Kashmir with Kashmiri people as well, where the government has forever tried to bring peace to Kashmir, but at the same time failed in doing so, because what they've really gone after is peace accords, rather than making peace with the people, really figuring out what the people want, rather than going after rebel groups or going after political ploys. So instead of playing politics, it just shows the movie actually went and intelligently showed and uncovered the entire paradigm of politics versus people, and what people want versus what politics makes politicians do, and how these are kind of counterproductive to each other. So I think in that the script was very well written, in that the protagonists really played a very important part. I know there are a lot of questions around why this entire Kashmir angle was brought in the first place, but I thought it was a very intelligent way of bringing the second protagonist, because it played very well with the situation, and the second protagonist actually, it was very personal for the second protagonist, and you could see the struggle of the second protagonist in this entire issue becoming very personal for him as well, while he was doing the job of being the government officer. So I think over there was extremely well written. I thought the music was fantabulous. I thought some of the anthems that played in the background were good. I thought what was with Andrea's character, at some moments I thought she really did extremely well. At some other moments I thought she wasn't comfortable in front of the camera, and so I couldn't really decide if she was kind of as if she was there in her character, or this was her character. So I wasn't able to figure out really whether she performed the character that she was given, or she was just flitting in and out of her comfort in front of the camera. So I wouldn't be able to comment much about it. Ayushmann Khurrana's character Joshua, who's actually the alias for Aman, the undercover agent, actually takes on the persona of this person. And yes, he sniffles, and he brings that a different characterization to the character, which might be because of a certain characteristic that the character has taken on. And I thought he completely underplayed it and gave the canvas to other characters to perform. And I thought that was very generous of him as an actor. He actually underplayed his character very well. But I thought kudos to Manoj Bawa for really showing the dilemma of a person who, as a human being, has undergone the exact same discrimination, the exact same situation that he is dealing with on the other side now. So I think a very intelligent script, very well directed. Some of the scenes were really brutal, especially the blood and gore and sexes were actually not a lot of sex at all, but the swearing scenes extremely. But yes, the blood and gore element is there, so I would suggest that watch with care. But definitely a very thought-provoking, a very intelligent script, and do watch. We highly recommend this movie.